300%. 16 million men and women served in the armed services. 16 million. Have you noticed that your grandparents are probably more patriotic than anybody else in your family? Have you noticed that? Why do you think that is? Do what? Raise your hand, I can't. Yeah, because their families served in the war. Your grandparents, by the age of your grandparents, were in Vietnam. Is that your grandparents' era? Yeah. Okay. My grandparents' era was World War II, and everyone served. I mean, everyone was in the war. It wasn't like very few people. You had to be physically pretty unable to not be drafted or accepted. And most people who were not physically able oftentimes would lie to get in, right? It was not common it was uncommon to have a town that had tons and tons and tons of men who were 25 years old hanging out. In fact, in Kentucky, in every war, Kentucky has more fighters per person, like per capita, than any other state in the country. In fact, there are several counties in Kentucky where not a single person was drafted. Not a single person was drafted in many Kentucky counties. Do you know why not a single person was drafted? Because every single one of them volunteered. And if you're in Eastern Kentucky, why not, right? Can you imagine? Do what? Well, women can't be drafted. Even today, women can't be drafted. But lots of women did volunteer. I don't know about Eastern Kentucky volunteering, but I know the men all volunteered. So over 250,000 women volunteered. Okay, so that's sort of the basics. Let's talk about economic mobilization. The economic mobilization was called, the main thing was called the Office of War Mobilization. It should be on there. The Office of War Mobilization was led by James, I think this is how you spell his name. Can you look that up, Tiger? I think it's Byron. It might be B-Y-R-N, actually. It's not in my notes. I just put him head of Office of War Mobilization, World War II. Arguably speaking, he was the second most powerful person in America. FDR than this guy. This is the guy that Roosevelt put in charge of running the economy. We basically became a socialist economy for 3 years. Hannah's worst nightmare. Or is this, I can never tell if you're normal Hannah liberal or if you're playing the Hannah as tycoon, feel sorry for J.P. Morgan types. It's kind of back and forth. Does Mrs. Vassar know that you're not in class?
Yeah, sure we do.
Are you not going over anything important today?
We're not doing anything because half of our class is not.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. And so on the industrial side, so this is over everything. See, Office of War Mobilization is over literally, okay, you're a clothing company, you're going to make uniforms. Lots of them. You're a button company, right? You're going to make buttons for the Army. You're a shoe company, you're now making boots for the Army. The War Production Board, or the Industrial Board, you see it right next to it, the War Production Board, this is what's going to be focused on manufacturing stuff. We need this many planes. In fact, the funny part about this is they would go to like GM, Chrysler, and Ford, and they would say, okay, we need 10,000 airplanes made this year. And Ford would say, listen, physics won't allow this. We don't have enough machines, people, and materials to make 10,000 airplanes. I don't think you understand. If every single person that we have worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we could not produce it. And then the government would say, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, I got an idea. Make 10,000 airplanes and do it now. They promised everybody would get a profit, and guess what they ended up doing? They make 12,000 airplanes. They would figure it out. There's nothing like innovation than being under duress, right? When you're under duress, you come up with some pretty cool ideas. Same thing with airplanes, jeeps, tanks, trucks. We were producing them like crazy. Now, remember during World War I we had an inflation problem? We're not going to have an inflation problem during World War II because Roosevelt, we're already in the middle of a socialist economy anyway, so Roosevelt just froze prices. How powerful do you have to be to freeze prices? It's called the hey.
Really quickly, if you want to use, I had a mechanic make these are my own
They
invention.
do not what?
Because they want $3 or $4 for them online. Do not remove. It's got a logo in the middle. It blocks your plate so that you will not have to. Oh crap! Yours may not work. Your door's junk.
Your door's junk. What does it do?
It's
stop
supposed to keep your door from